So if you could maybe introduce yourself, your name, and you know, your role here, and then you could just go straight into, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little background, just 2-3 minutes about what has been your pathway and kind of your why. Why did you, for some people there was a person who influenced them or an experience that influenced them that had brought you to this point in the maritime industry. Maybe we could just start with that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. My name is Nhlanhla Mtshali, born in KZN here in Durban, and I grew up here for most of my years, 22 years here in Durban, and then matriculated in 1993. Then thereafter I went to University of Westville to study BSc, and due to some financial constraints I couldn't complete. Stayed at home up until 1996, and of which then in 1997 one of my friends who was already in the Navy then introduced me to the Navy and then gave me an application form to complete. And then in 1998 I was fortunate enough to be recruited as one of the cadets to go under training, Collins Bay, Cape Town. Then I did my basic training in 1998, officers course, which lasted for the whole year. Completed in 1998, end of 1998 in December. Then 1999, I then went to Stellenbosch, but then it was a campus under Stellenbosch Military Academy, which is in Saldanha, from 1999 up until 2001. So I had that opportunity to then complete my BSc, which I studied with University of Westville. Okay. Then I completed December 2001. Then 2002, went to Simonstown to undergo now a specialization for officers course, combat officers. 2002, January up until, it lasted for 9 months, up until September of the same year. Then I joined the ship, one of the ships, which is they call it a T-boat, a craft, a small craft, which specializes in just patrolling the coast for fishing, illegal fishing, and all those illegal activities that are taking place near the coast of South Africa. And then 2004, I left that boat and then I joined a slightly bigger one in the form of a mine hunter. Those ships are used to search for mines, to make sure that the harbors are, of course, not compromised. The shipping is taking place. Okay.
I'm very interested to hear, is that in South African waters, or was that, because was there I don't know if that's a standard thing that all countries do, or is that on, like, at the borders, or?
No, it's mostly to protect our waters. So we'll make sure that the harbors are clear of the mines, so that shipping can come in and leave, because that will then jeopardize the industry in terms of the goods that are coming in and leaving the harbor. If for whatever reasons people might decide to mine the harbors to prevent or to try and distract the progress in terms of economy of South Africa. So that is why we have those ships. They are still available. People are still trained on those, how to use mine detection systems to detect mines. And they also have divers to do the mine clearance. So it's a system that is still available. And the Navy is still using that system even now. And then from there, so I started small, then went to a slightly bigger one, and then I progressed to now the one that is the state of the art, a bigger one, which are frigates. We've got 4 of them, and then fortunately I rotated amongst the 3. Only one of them I couldn't serve, so there I was employed as a navigator. Of course, a navigator, the job of a navigator is to make sure that the ship is navigating safely. So we will prepare all the passages to make sure that the ship follows the right tracks and do some calculations to ensure that the provisions that should be taken for that particular passage are sufficient to sustain the crew as well as the ship to have sufficient fuel. So that was my experience from 2000 and I would say it was 2005 after I left the mine hunters in 2005, early 2005. Then I was there up until 2008, so from 2005 up until 2008. Then I got another opportunity to go to the institution where I started, which was the officers training, Collins Bay. And there I went as a training officer to train the recruits. That was 2009. Yeah, 2009. And then because of promotional issues, then I had to move to Pretoria. That is where the post was. That was in late 2009, around September 2009. Went to Pretoria, where I then joined a unit which has got a combination of all the services. So by services, I'm referring to the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, as well as the medics. And that unit is called Joint Ops or Joint Operations Unit. Then I worked there up until from 2009, September, up until 2014. 2014, and then I decided to apply to go to Stellenbosch University. The plan was to do quantity survey because I like to study. So I wanted to do quantity survey. Unfortunately, I wasn't accepted. So maybe I made the wrong choice by resigning before being accepted. So then I had to stay at home for about 2 years. Okay. At that time, I was engaged in doing some small courses from 2015. I did my supply chain through UCT, and then I also did the personal physical, they call personal trainer certificate. And then I finished that, and then in 2017, I then went work for Virgin Active. Okay. Then, fortunately, one of my friends, again from the Navy, Michael, he then contacted me to say that there is a post available at the DOT under Maritime Studies Department. And then I applied. That was in 2017. I applied, and then I did my interview towards the end of 2017, and then I got employed in 2018. Started working in January of 2018 until now. That is where I am now.
Wow.
Still enjoying. I like teaching kids. It's my passion. Because even now and then, assist even the students from matric, should they have any difficulties in adjusting to certain concepts.
Is that for the high schools around Durban that teach
High
maritime?
schools, no, not maritime specific schools, but any kids
Sure.
who are having difficulties in understanding whatever concept,
Oh,
I will assist.
that's great. So that is a fascinating story, and I'm also very impressed with your memory, because you you can remember month by month when things happened in your life, and it's interesting to see how you had some setbacks when you weren't able to go forward.
Yeah.
I have a son who's in grade 10, so I'm so conscious of the dreams that you have, that life takes you in different directions.
Exactly.
And yet you continue to find a really interesting way forward that's got a consistent theme to the story. So that's very interesting. And what also stands out to me listening to what you've just said is how you've been involved as a person who's learning and as a person who's teaching quite a lot of different institutions and environments. Stellenbosch, UCT, University of Westville. So you've been exposed. You might not have been thinking about a teaching career while you were going through this journey, but you've been exposed to a lot of different institutions, teachers, lecturers, approaches, some of them very integrated with the practical, some of them more theoretical. And now you've come to teaching, and you said that you've found it to be your passion.
Yeah.
What can you say about that in terms of how did you discover that about yourself, and how does that it's maybe you've had a career at sea. Some people talk about developing a passion for the sea as well, like you kind of develop a relationship with the sea or something like that. I'd be interested to hear about that. How has your career at sea shaped you, and how does that maybe fit with your passion for being a teacher? Is there a connection? How did your passion for teaching develop when that wasn't where you started off? You started off with a different direction.
Yeah, I was so fortunate because while I was still in school, there was a gentleman who was very passionate about teaching. He would assist us free of charge, of course. So he would conduct classes with us. I think it was myself and another guy. We were doing the same grade at the time. And this guy was teaching us maths and physics. So he was focusing on those two subjects. And he was dedicated. So that is when I developed, because I mean, if someone can assist you in that manner and there's nothing that he expects from you, and you end up succeeding because of him, then why not assist others who are in the same predicament as you are? So that is why I actually developed teaching for. In any case, I do have, even now, the kids, those are my favorite people in the world, I must say, because they've got pure souls. I mean, why not develop? I mean, if you're developing kids, then you are developing the nation as well, and you are developing the country as well. So why not put all your effort in doing that? We all start somewhere. The doctors start from somewhere. The teachers start from somewhere. All the disciplines that you find, they must come from somewhere. So I see myself as that catalyst to make sure that those doctors and all those teachers, they come from my hands. So that gives me pride as well to say that I'm contributing towards the development of the nation as well as the country. So that is how it all started. As such,
Can I just ask you, if you want to carry on with what you're saying,
Okay.
that's fine, but as where you're at right now, I'm interested in what you think are the key, the important things for traits, qualities for a teacher to have, or a lecturer, apart from the content that you're going to teach. So number one, what is a truly good teacher? What are those qualities? Because we can just recognize someone and say they're wonderful, but what is it that makes somebody a catalyst or a transforming agent? And then together with that, what kind of impact or what aims do you have when you're teaching apart from the syllabus? Do you see yourself as having a role in their lives? And we could kind of connect to what we're talking about attitudes and values, but also people's problems. You know, like when you look at a learner, and I've heard interesting things from some of the teachers who'd been at sea, because I think at sea you also have a learning community that's a 24/7 community, and you never get a break from each other, and your role of who's teaching who and having the separate I'm teaching you this, that falls away because you're living your life together. So some of the teachers, for example, at Port St. John's, they were saying that they don't just see their role as a teacher as like coming into the classroom and teach, which maybe a maths teacher would, because they learned how to teach from the environment in the ship, and so they see their role, you know, as being much broader in the student's life. So I thought that was very interesting that they brought that from the sea. So maybe you could just comment on what do you see as the traits that a teacher should have, or a lecturer, and what impacts are you trying to have in that learner's life apart from the actual content? Yeah.
So I can say that as a parent, we all want to see our kids progress in life. So these kids that I'm teaching currently, they are not just kids from families out there. They are also my kids. So I look at them in that way. In such a way that even today, after I completed the teaching or the lecture period, I spend time with them to now and then show them the right way of living. So I will make an example. We know what is happening in the country now. People are being killed left, right, and center. And the students will be going on a break next week. So just to give them an advice to say that they must look after themselves in terms of choosing the right people to go with and choosing places where to go to, and try by all means to minimize the movement, because we understand what is happening in the country. So I also give them advice. My door is always open. I always tell them that whenever there is a problem, please don't be afraid to approach me. I might not have all the answers, but we will try and see how we get around whatever challenges that you might be facing at the time, in such a way that we can also refer you to the services that are available on campus that might need maybe counseling or to take place, or any other intervention that must take place. So that is how I see, how I can relate to them, to say that I am here, you are spending time with me during the day, your parents are not here, maybe they may be far, you can't be able to get communication as soon as possible, but we are available here to guide you where necessary. So that is also what I learned, because we are working as a team. I see them as part of the institution, so we have to work as a team. They contribute, I contribute. So it's not about me teaching them. They must also be able to say, to make a contribution. So we are teaching each other as well. Life is not about an elder being only conveying messages to the young ones. You need to also have a listening skill, which is one of the skills that I learned in the Navy. Communication is very important, otherwise things will go wrong. So having that listening skill and a way of communicating with people, I would say, is one of the best things that I've learned in the Navy. And of course, we need to have a level of understanding in terms of who you are, where you are, and the respect that you give to those who are in authority. So whether it's a lady that is actually leading now, that shouldn't have a negative thinking to say that the lady is leading. We all know that we're all equal nowadays. So I have to abide by whatever the department is putting forward, and I must respect whoever is in charge. So the level of authority is one of the things that I was taught in the Navy, to say that you must respect those who are in authority at all the time. So those are the characteristics. So respect is very important, and it's a two-way. Student respect the teacher, and the teacher must respect the student as well.
Are there any other traits that come to mind of that you think that a maritime lecturer needs to have and to develop in the students?
Sharing experiences. There are a lot of experiences that one has actually experienced while I was still at sea. So those experiences are to be shared with the students, so that they are well prepared in terms of what they are going to meet in the near future. Hence, I actually decided to take an initiative last year to teach them basic firefighting skills, which is not part of the curriculum, by the way. But I saw it as one of the most important practice that they should be able to adopt now while they're still here, so that they can prepare, because fire can happen anywhere, even here at school. They should actually know what to do in case of a fire. So those skills that were learned there, I'm imparting them to them. Unfortunately, we don't have a swimming pool here, which is one of the things that I could also impart or teach them to, because those are the requirements for any student to have when joining. There is another initiative that I'll be embarking on in terms of survivor. I'm going to introduce it to an HOD or acting HOD, to say that maybe I can take some of the students for about a week away to have that survival skill of how to survive away from the normal environment.
Wow.
Because that is also what we were taught to be. What if the ship is stuck at sea and you don't have anyone to assist you? You need to be able to survive under those conditions. So it's one of my initiatives that I'll be embarking upon. So there are a lot of things that the Navy has taught me. So I'm trying by all means to share with them, to say this is what happened, the scenarios that happened, that took place. I will share with them. When there is a topic that relates to what I experienced at sea, I will share those experiences with them. So that maybe, even though it's not going to be practical for them, but at least they understand how to overcome certain situations. So.
Do you think that the students are getting enough practical experience or exposure currently? And if not, what ideas do you have for how, whether within your own power or whether it should be on the part of the institution or the government or whatever, whoever needs to come to the party, but what would be ideal?
Yeah, I would say it's not enough. It's not enough. More can be done in terms of making sure that a student does not complete a diploma without having been at least on one platform or vessel. See, hence now I'll be taking or making that initiative to say, Navy, can you accommodate us to come and visit the ship, maybe 10 students per week. So 5 weeks or 6 weeks, then we would have taken the whole group to go and visit.
Could you just explain that from the beginning a little bit, because we did talk about it beforehand, so just that you have your idea of how what that would be.
Yeah, since I have communications with the Navy and I know people who are there, and it will be easy to communicate, to make a request, to say that please can we be allowed to take students and visit the Durban, naval base Durban, because there is one of the vessel that the Navy has introduced. There are more coming, but there is one currently here in Durban. So I think that will be a good opportunity to take students to that platform, to see what is what, to explain, to show them exactly what is an anchor, instead of them seeing it on the books or online. So a practical experience, people will take them on a tour, on a boat, and they can see different things, what is where, what is an engine room. So that we don't talk theory, we put it into practice. So that is my focus now, to make sure that at least they see the ship. We don't get to see the ship after I've completed a diploma. So,
Within the scope of your classes now, what is the range of things that you do? Maybe more practical, or I don't know if you use simulators or scenarios or drills or videos. Maybe you could just talk about kind of what different things what different teaching methods do you use?
It's a variety of teaching methods that I adopt, and we all understand that there's interruptions now and then in terms of load shedding and sometimes strikes taking place. So we need to adapt to those conditions. So any method that is available that I can use, I use them. We've got MS Teams, online teaching. Should there be disruptions in terms of strikes, then we move to online teaching, and then we engage students via online. The university, of course, provides the data for them. Then we teach in class as well, conduct sessions where then students can, it's easy for them because they can raise issues there and then we can address those issues. Should there be concepts that are not understood, we've got WhatsApp group, and of course, as I mentioned earlier on, that I've got an open door policy, so at any time I don't restrict them to say that you can contact me for this time, because some of them are scared to come. You might find students who are scared to come and see you personally, so they can use WhatsApp. Some students don't even want to ask questions in class, so give them that opportunity to ask from different platforms. Moodle, we've got Moodle. I use that as well to share information with them. And yeah, there are different styles that one can use to engage with students. So, yeah, when maybe a student doesn't understand, they come to the office and then I'll explain. If it's a bigger group, then I can take them to a smaller venue and then we can have sessions there. So, yeah.
And when your students are, I don't know if you're teaching students in their final semester.
Yeah, I
do. How ready do you feel that they are, and what would be the next articulation point for them to? I don't know, because you've got two streams. You've got the sort of shore side and the seafaring. I don't know if you're involved with students who are going to do the shore side, but I know that for some of those who don't find cadetships, they might end up coming back. So how ready do you feel they are for the next step? And I'm not talking only about their knowledge and skills, but just their personal development of their character. When you were talking about survival, I was thinking about that kind of resilience, to be able to say, I sort of take responsibility for my life, maybe for other people's lives as well. You know, so their development from being kids to being people who can take, you know, deal with dangerous, scary situations.
Yeah, I would say COVID has interrupted a lot of things. I don't like comparing students, but prior to COVID, yeah, the developmental stage of students was at a higher stage. I think online learning has somehow had a negative influence. Some students tend to grapple in terms of understanding concepts and understanding formulas. I don't know, maybe I can say maybe online has had an influence, because even the way the assessments were done, it was an adjustment from a normal to a new normal. And we all had to learn fast as to how we get around those situations of doing online assessments. And of course, online assessments are not a perfect tool to use to assess students. There are a lot of negative things that come in there. So some students might not understand the context of a subject, what exactly they need to understand and be able to produce should it be required. So yeah, but overall, I can say that I'm satisfied with the level of understanding, because some of them, they do excel, they do well. And so that now we are back on campus, so I can say that even though they were online, they started with online classes, but they are able to cope with the level of work that we present. So if they can pass and get the distinctions, some of them, they do get distinctions. So it means that there is some kind of understanding of what is being presented. But of course, then maybe the level, let me be careful here of how I'm saying this. Maybe the level, the schooling level, maybe it's something that needs to be also to be looked at.
Like their prior learning.
Their prior learning, maybe their metric schooling, or even before that, so that we don't actually have to cover concepts that were supposed to have been covered. I'm not saying that they are not covered, but some do not understand even the basic.
They don't have a strong foundation for you to start building.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to now and then go back to something that could have been done earlier on during schooling days. So, but we are getting there. We are not complaining to say that we have to do all those work. It's part of our work as well. We can't expect to find all the students who are at the same level. It's impossible.
It's part of the reality.
It's part of it. So we have to try and uplift them as much as we can. So those things are expected in any way. So, yeah.
Very interesting, hey? I'm guessing you have a lot of ideas, and if you want to ask more about something, and if you have anything else you'd like to...
Just a continuation from that, I'm interested to know about all the students that finish their third year, will they all get positions in the maritime industry? I'm assuming some won't.
Oh.
And do you know what percentage that is? And what do you hope to be the you lecturing, so you would hope that all of them get positions there.
Exactly.
But the reality is different.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not everyone gets employed, and that's the reality across all disciplines. We know that the employment rate is high in the country, so that is expected, that not everyone will get an opportunity. But we try as much as we can, because some of the students, when they complete, they go to the Navy, so we've got contact with the Navy, and then we do assist them with the applications to apply. And there will be interviews that will be taking place, I think it's this month, where companies will come and interview students. Different companies, they do come and interview students. Unfortunately, it's only, I don't know whether to say unfortunately or fortunately, depending on the side that one is looking from. If you are not performing well, then the chances of you being given an interview are very minimal. So only students who are performing well gets those employment. So it is important for a student to ensure that they do perform very well to attract those positions. But we assist students when it comes to applications and to introduce them to industry as well, so that they've got better opportunities to get an employment. That is what we can do. Otherwise, if I had powers, I would buy a ship.
And just employ them all.
And then employ all of them.
Sounds like a fantastic movie. Captain.
Percentage-wise, though, what?
Oh, the percentage.
What would you estimate are the percentage of students that actually land up in the maritime industry? And then also follow-up, what would then happen to the students that don't make it? Where will they find themselves? Or will they just find allied industries or use the skills from this? Because these are important skills.
Yeah,
these
exactly.
are life skills.
Exactly. I might not have the exact percentage of how many students are employed, but we do have the records. We're keeping in touch with students to find out if they have been employed or not, or what are they doing. So we do have that contact. And some of them I do meet, some of them, and they indicate if they are employed, they do indicate, and if maybe they are not employed, they indicate, and then I take their numbers, and then I will tell them should there be interviews that are taking place here, to say that you can come and have interviews done. So we do engage with them on a regular basis to find out if they have employment. I'm on the seaside, or not on the shore side, so I engage mostly with the sea-going students. But not to say that I don't engage with the shore base, because should there be any opportunities available, I need to make those available to them as well, because we are together in this shore base, sea base. We can't go to sea without the shore base.
So they're allied, hey?
Yeah, make friends and not enemies.
Would you say it's more than half, though, or less than half, that get their position?
I don't want to speculate, but those that I've met, they are working. They are working.
And which is the next most suitable employment path or career path for people that don't find themselves in the maritime industry but have studied and have these skills? What would you suggest?
Now we have the postgrad channel that they can use. So it's either that's another option to come and do the postgrad, and as from next year, we are introducing the masters
In maritime.
in maritime,
Okay.
and hopefully in the future we'll have a PhD in maritime.
Oh, that's good.
So those are the avenues that are available now. But hopefully, should the maritime be strong in schools, be introduced to that. So that is also linking the government priorities in terms of looking after the maritime sector. Then I'm hoping that the kids that finish here can go and teach as well at maritime schools. So I've heard that there will be more being introduced in the future. So we can have these kids teaching. That's another option available.
And one or two of them become entrepreneurs and start their own
Exactly.
businesses in that maritime industry.
Yes,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
That's what we need, and
yeah.
then they'll create employment.
Employment, exactly. Some of them, they do have that entrepreneurial skills, but it's not maritime focus. They do certain things which is not maritime, it might not be maritime related, but at least so it's up to them as well to choose. There are a lot of opportunities available in the country to start up a certain business. So
there's lots of gaps that are not being filled.
That are not being filled, exactly. So
in the economy as such.
So it's they've got that opportunity to use. But I'm hoping that mostly they will also come back and continue their studies. Yeah.
Thank you so much.